Hello, so welcome to my very special International Women's Day series. There's loads of interviews that's going to be posted out across Facebook and YouTube today, so tune into them all. I'm so happy to be here with Asha Jane today. How are you, Asha? You okay?
Yeah, I'm all right, thanks. Yeah, how are you?
No, I am. I'm really good, thank you. It's been so long since I've seen you in person. It's just nice to chat with you and see what you've been up to.
Actually wild, isn't it? I've only seen you on a computer screen for some time now. Yeah.
I'm glad we're able to do things like this as well, because International Women's Day, they usually have like clubs on club nights on in town, the Ladies Rage do stuff, but everything's going to be online this year. But this is going to be the Hell Yeah Women series. I've spoken to so many different inspirational women who I think absolutely kill it in today's society. So we'll have a little chat about what you've been up to and some of the things you do in your sort of day-to-day life. Because I think I met you about 2 years ago or so at Radio Platform, and shout out to Radio Platform as well.
Yeah, we used to do radio together. That's what we
Yeah.
did. We still do.
And you do a bit of everything as well. You do like songwriting and actress. I think I read online somewhere you do a little bit emceeing as well. So what have you been sort of up to during lockdown? Have you been keeping yourself busy?
Yeah, a little bit of the same really, but just having to take a lot more of that online. So the last time that I actually performed live on a stage was International Women's Day for Ladies of Rage last March, which is actually wild for someone who's been performing since I was a little kid. People I used to go to my parents' like parties that they'd have at our house, and I'd sort of turn up and I'd have like a little songbook with me, like an Oliver or Annie songbook, I think was my favorite. And I had it convinced in my head that I was reading the music, but actually I've now learned I'd learned it by ear, and I thought I was reading the music. Anyway, long story cut short, I would like bring this songbook out and I would like perform to all of these people, and they used to give me like £1 or £2. And then I'd go down the shop and buy myself a Kit Kat or some Hubba Bubba. And like that is literally where it started.
That is so cute though, because I bet when you were so little as well, I thought you were really cute and big in your one, and you thought you were doing amazing.
Yeah, I thought it was incredible. Like I remember it purely. I was like, I am here to entertain these people. Like that's why they're here. It's for me. And like I know I laugh at, you laugh at little kids all the time and they say things and you just think they're so funny, and it's too complex to sort of explain why it's funny, because kids just see things in a really simplistic way. I remember adults used to laugh at me constantly. So I just thought I was a comedian.
Yeah.
But I realize now I'm older, maybe it's just I said like really funny things that like kids say, and I just never got an explanation as to why they're always laughing, but I knew that I loved it.
Yeah.
So I think it's a case of just I love like emotion. I love people and sharing that with people. That's probably where it started.
Yeah, no, it is. It's lovely in that sense, because you've achieved quite a few goals really throughout your career, and you've still got so much more to do. Where are you sort of now in your career? Would you say you're sort of happy and you've made the dream, or where would you sort of place yourself?
I think I'm happy in life, but in like a general, I guess we were discussing that a little bit pre to this, like what is happy in life. I feel like my friend reminded me last night, I was having a really long chat with one of my oldest friends, and she said, I'm so proud of you because you've done everything you said you were going to do years ago. And like it was really nice to have that little reminder, and sort of someone just say to you, she was like, remember you said you always wanted to live with your friends and now you live in like a house share. Remember you said you always wanted to do a bit of this and a bit of that. And she's like, you've actually done it. She was like, you didn't just like sit around and wait. So I feel like that's true. Like a few years ago, I wasn't really doing what I wanted to be doing. And then I started just sort of saying yes to everything. And somehow I'm now here. This is such a weird one to answer because I don't know how to describe it without sounding like an airy fairy person who says I literally willed it into the universe.
Yeah.
But I do think that that's really true. And I do think it's really important, because what she was saying is that like years ago, I would say to people, one day I want to do a bit of this, and one day I want to do a bit of presenting, and one day I want to do a bit of like acting, and one day I want to write a song for someone amazing, and I want to feature on a rapper's track. And I genuinely used to say all that stuff, and people thought I was just chatting. They're like, oh, there's no way you can do all of that stuff. There's no way, you know, like just choose like a more sensible career. Or, and I had that so much. People saying to me, oh, your goals are unrealistic. And like years later, okay, maybe I don't earn like extreme amounts of money, but I do make music. I have written songs for people. I have featured on songs for people. I have done television. I have done films. I've done adverts. I've done everything because, and like, I find it wild because all those serious jobs that I was being told to get when I was younger, which was like be a doctor or a lawyer or anything like that, I've played them on screen.
And I bet you had more fun playing them on screen than you ever would do in real life.
Far easier, at least. Less years at university.
And how about for anyone who's like just sort of up and coming or trying to figure out their way in the world and what they want to do? Have you got any tips for them?
Yeah, I think focus on what you are passionate on. All the other stuff is important. I think it's really important to go to school for brain development and understanding social development and things like that. But I do also think that if you love something and you're good at it, and you know that if you keep working at it, you're only going to get better at it, then just keep doing it. Like, there's so much like oppression of the arts in the world, and yet everyone is watching Netflix in this pandemic. And guess how many creatives had to go into making all of that happen, you know? And yet we're told, you know, there's so many, I think in my school that they used to say stuff like, oh, you know, they had turn their nose up a bit at sociology, turn their nose up a bit at like media studies, turn their nose up a little bit at like psychology. What's everyone talking about now? Mental health. What's everyone got to use right now? Technology and media and things like that. So I think that if don't let other people deter you from what you love doing, because only you can know like what's going to make you the happiest.
No, most definitely. And I think sometimes it's easy for people to put their 2 pence in without actually knowing the full situation. So as long as you know what you're doing, you're mindful in your actions, and you've got a good team around you, I really do think you can do anything you can put your mind to.
Exactly.
Have you had like a lot of obstacles in your career as well, or anything you found really hard to overcome?
Yes, but I think that the main thing about obstacles is if you let them be an obstacle. You know, there was a lot of things I think growing up that I was scared of. I was scared to be on stage because you know, I hit puberty and I became very self-conscious of what I look like on stage. Now I'm pretty happy to walk on stage wearing whatever. Obviously I want to be a bit stylish, but I'm pretty happy to like walk on stage wearing whatever and know that I will give the best performance no matter how I look. And I feel like that's a really important part of it, is that realizing that why people want to watch you, what people are entertained by, is not based necessarily on your looks. And we do put a lot of pressure on how we look as performers and stuff like that, but that could be anything, you know. I don't think nobody looks perfect 24/7 or the best version of themselves 24/7. So it's about coming into that realistic approach of, yeah, maybe I don't look my best today, but I'm still going to give my best performance. And I think that that's, a lot of people think that maybe I'm just constantly 24/7 confident, and I wouldn't say that that's the case. I'd say that there's a good, I think it comes hormonally, you know.
Yeah.
I've realized that there's times during the month that I will never feel great. Like it's just hormones. And by learning that and like tracking that and realizing what happens during the month that would make you, as a woman or somebody with like ovaries or whatever, or someone who's just on hormones, if you look at hormones and how they give you energy at one point in the month or at one time in the day, if you're like you're a man, and how all of that affects your energy and stuff like that, I find that wild. I think it's really interesting. And I've learned now that there's a couple of days a month where I will not feel myself, and that's okay. And you're allowed to do that, but to know that that's not you. Like, you might feel like disgusting one day, but you are not actually disgusting. It's just how you're feeling in that moment, and to accept that you're feeling that in that moment, and to not try and change it or anything like that. I think it's natural, and to just know that these things are natural. that's how I sort of like get along with my day. If I'm not feeling great, I just sort
Yeah.
of accept I'm not feeling great and know that I'll feel better tomorrow, and maybe eat a bit of chocolate.
Yeah. To have those days as well, and it's so easy as well, I think, to compare yourself to other people or think you need to act a certain way or look a certain way, and it does take time, but I think it's important to fully love yourself inside and out, and never ever compare yourself to somebody else, because you're unique, and that should be celebrated, if anything.
Although there is a point where you can definitely, I don't think you can love yourself too much. I think that that's like a really beautiful thing. You should definitely still leave yourself open to some criticism, but only to those who you would admire yourself, if that makes any sense. Like if someone leads their life in a way that you think, actually, yeah, like they do seem better at that one thing that I'm not good at, then you should definitely listen to their advice. Like I think a lot of people get a bit too like ego about things. So I've tried to find this balance between loving myself and then not having too much ego that I'm not open to change, if that makes any sense.
No,
so, yeah.
Definitely. So I think there's like a lot of different things that make up a person as well. We've almost got like your soul, which is where your happiness comes from. The things that make you feel good about yourself, and then the ego is almost like the bit that push you forward. So finding the right balance between the two, and your soul, you can smash it.
Yeah.
With a lot of the body positivity, you've been doing some podcasts and stuff lately as well. Do you have any thoughts on where the kind of pressure comes from on women to maybe look a certain way or act a certain way?
Oh, it started with men, it continued with women.
Yeah.
No, it comes from society, really. Like it does. But then once you realize that really is objective, you know, like the whole like old saying, like beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and how trends don't come into fashion so much as body shapes do. So like when you learn all of that, and also when you've lived it, like we've lived long enough now to have seen a few different like trends come in, you know, and see like at one point it was like everyone wanted to be really skinny, then everyone wanted to have really big boobs, now everyone wants to have really big bums, and boobs don't really matter anymore, and things like that. And that's just in like the Western world. The one thing I'd say like is go traveling. That sounds really weird, but for instance, I've been to Jamaica. I went to Jamaica and all of a sudden, that was the hottest thing in Jamaica. And that's a hot place. I didn't have to do anything I didn't have to change or be anything different. It's just that culturally there, that's what people thought I was attractive. Same as if I went then to Russia, I may not be attractive at all because they like a certain type of woman there. Same as then if I went to Nigeria, they might find me really attractive because that's how, you know, the women there, they're like naturally like, you know, they're like bodacious and stuff like that. And that's what they like. But then you go to somewhere like, I don't know, Australia, and they like a big toned beach body, you know, like, and I think that when we travel and you realize that there's different kinds of like beauty all over the world and it doesn't look one way, that's when you start to realize that like none of what anyone says to you is that important. You know, there are places where being hairy is completely normal, but like in our society, maybe it's not seen as normal yet. And just realizing the history and the sociology and everything that sort of goes around those things, and that no, it's unattainable perfection, you know, so you may as well just be yourself and be the best version of yourself and be the one that you're comfortable with, you know.
100%, because I feel like you can not necessarily waste time, but spend time that could be spent on positive things, kind of beating yourself up or worrying about the way you look and things, when really, like, as long as you're happy in yourself, it doesn't really matter what other people think either. Especially people around you, they'll accept you no matter how you are. So if you have got someone who feel a certain way, it's worth taking a step back a second and addressing really where they stand in your life.
If you've got like two great friends, you are winning. That's it. That's all you need. A mate and a spare mate.
You can maybe like mix them up as well. See, like when they're working, so when it's always a bit, people don't really notice because it's just all around us day to day. You've got social media, music videos, newspapers, and subconsciously they've over years and years put us ideals in our heads. So I suppose about removing those, and I think being conscious as well about what you are absorbing, looking at positive things on social media can help, and going back to the support system as well.
Exactly.
Following yourself with positivity, as daisy and as flowery as it sounds, it makes such a big difference in day-to-day life.
It does. I think I remember starting with there's a magazine called We Are Happy People.
Yeah.
No, wait, hang on. It's called something else. It's called That's It. And it was started by a woman called Emily Coxhead, and she was so sick of consuming like poor journalism and things that were just like all this tragic news and tragic television that we watch, and like we're sort of almost addicted to watching, or we think that it's normal to see that much trauma, when actually we weren't balancing it out. I'd say like it's realistic to see all those things that are going on in the world and stuff like that, but maybe don't use them all the time. But when it comes to body confidence and positivity and things like that specifically, I prefer to use the term confidence, I think, because I don't think you can constantly always be positive, but I think that you can always try and be confident. So with the confidence, I think I stopped following things that didn't make me feel good on Instagram. And I'm not saying that that means you have to always follow, I don't know, just one type of influencer. Like I still follow loads of fitness influencers because I think they give good tips and things like that. But I follow artwork, and I follow travel blogs, and I follow, you know, things to fill your head with that aren't all about your body.
Yeah.
And I'm almost kind of sick of it in a way. Like I'm so positive that I'm almost neutral. Like
Yeah.
I almost don't care about my body anymore, because I think about how much time I used to spend obsessing with it. And I'd spend every morning, you know, obsessed in front of the mirror, trying to find the right thing to wear, and then realizing that like, had I had not all these thoughts, I would have so much more spare time to actually spend on being happy. And it's about that. It's about realizing that like, there are better things you could do with your time. Imagine all the beautiful advances we would have in like the human race by now if women hadn't been left to like panic about how they looked all the time. A lot more stuff would have got done.
Yeah, no, I'd wholeheartedly agree, because it's always been historic, really. The women have had a pressure to act a certain way, and be a certain way. But what I quite like as well, is in recent years, like everyone has gone out and had the opportunity really to be who they want to be. So it is really nice passing that on to younger generations and stuff as well. And I'm hoping over the years things will change, and it'll be a bit of a more body positive world.
Yeah, and I feel like the work doesn't stop there though, because I think a lot of people are relaxing now, and I almost think the work doesn't stop there, because there's still so many societies and women all over the world who are being oppressed still for things that we take for granted, that are very basic to us, like the fact that, like, I don't know, I'm in my late 20s and I don't have to get married and I don't have to have babies, and like that's not a pressure that I feel from. I mean, I feel a little bit of pressure. My nana likes to put it on sometimes, and I would love to please her, but also like, grandma, it's a pandemic, how am I meant to date? But I feel like, yeah, so that work is very important, because I feel like we're as a society might be at the forefront of some of those things, and realizing that women are just much more than baby makers, you know.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with being that either. I think there's nothing wrong. I think there's this whole like thing that's polarizing, like sort of saying, oh, this woman wears heels, that's oppressive. This woman doesn't wear heels, she doesn't care. How about we just let people have the choice, you know, whether they want to wear a hijab or not wear a hijab, or they want to have surgery done or they don't want to have surgery done. Like, how about we just, for me, I have a lot of people, I don't know, it's usually men. I had a man in my inbox who said something like, you do it correctly, not like this woman. And I went, excuse me? And he was like, you know, like the way that you take pictures, I don't mind that. But when I talk about women who take disgusting pictures, I'm talking about like this woman. And I was like, what's wrong with it? He showed me the picture. I was like, what's wrong with it? You know, go and explain it to me. Because a lot of the time I think women would laugh and go, ah, ha, ha, ha. And I was like, no, don't pit me against this other random woman on the internet that I didn't know about before. And also I don't think she knows about me. And we don't care. I don't care how she lives her life, as long as she's living her life to her happiest and she takes the photos that she wants to take. But there was some man on the internet, sat on the internet going, this girl does it right, this girl doesn't do it right, I've got the right to comment on it. And like, I was just like, leave her be. Let her live her best life. What does it do? How does it affect you? It doesn't. So why? And it was like one of those moments where I was just like, ew.
No, it's really bad because I think even like not even just with issues against like equality for women and things like that, but generally there's a bit of a lack of respect, I think, for other people's opinions these days. Everything seems to cause an argument or a debate. But everyone can have an opinion and that's okay. You just gotta like talk about it or not talk about it or whatever, but come out with it with maybe a better understanding of the topic you were talking about. Rather
as long as that opinion is respectful in my book, because I feel like sometimes people overuse the word opinion in order to actually be quite nasty, or to again be like in some oppressive nature, and they're like, oh, that's just my opinion, because I feel like that's what he would have said. He would have said, oh, you know, it's just my opinion, I think that you look better than this other woman, and I don't like so I feel like stay in people's heads. But I do think it's important to hear everybody, and that's the difference. I feel like it's important to hear everybody because otherwise we'll never progress to understanding each other and things like that. And some people just don't want to understand other people. They just want to hear themselves. Like, you know, sometimes myself included, because like, maybe I'm just right. But no, but also I do, again, it's about being open to change and open to changing your opinion despite having your own life experiences and having your own thing on it. If only people in our government would listen more.
Oh, I know, I know. I'm just wondering as well, for a lot of people who have maybe gone through like body changes over lockdown and everything kind of stuck in and stuff, how would you like, or if you've got any tips really for them of how to feel a little bit more better in themselves? Because everyone's sort of gone through changes.
So again, I like to go back to science when I think about what I'm trying to accept about myself. So the basic thing is that if this was a world-ending event, your body would have to put on some weight. It would have to put on some fat in order to survive like some kind of tragic extinction event, which is exactly what's happening. We have a lot of technologies to deal with this extinction event, but we are in an extinction event. So like your body putting on a bit of fat, or you going into hibernation mode and like being at home and comfort eating, or like blah blah blah, like we're sat down all the time, we're not walking to work, we're not taking the steps, we're not having to do anything, so of course you're going to put on a little bit of weight. And I think it's just that acceptance that that's just for now, it's just temporary. When we go back to living our best lives, we will, you know, it'll come back off again. It's just weight at the end of the day. It doesn't change who you are or how much worth you have. And if you feel like it does, you have to think about, like, would you say that to someone else? Because I wouldn't. And so I don't try and put that on myself. And sometimes I think that people are just far more self-critical of themselves than they would be other people. And to remember what they might say to someone else and just be as kind as they would be to someone else, to themselves. So I think if you put on weight, you're meant to have put on weight. That's exactly what your body is doing, exactly what it was supposed to do in a time of stress or danger. So don't worry about it.
No, definitely. I think that's really important as well, because talking to yourself negatively, even if it's just a couple of times a day, it's surprising how much that adds up. And you've always got an image in your head of yourself and that doesn't really exist. Everyone else probably sees you in such a different way to yourself. So definitely, big yourself up as much as you can, really.
Yeah, and also it's very, very important to identify those things that you do like about yourself to counteract those years of like, if like us, you might have spent years abusing yourself mentally, you know, that bit that no one hears or gets to see. And then I had to spend years on, you know, reversing it, looking in the mirror and saying, do you know what? I quite like my hair. I quite like, there's lots of history in this hair. I quite like, I like my waist. That's like a weird thing about, you know, I like to highlight my waist. Maybe that comes across, a lot of people would think that comes across as like a vanity sort of thing. But I think that self-love is also taking care of yourself in some ways as well. So one thing that I do now that I never used to do is moisturize all over, full body, most days, because it helps to release the chemical, I think it's oxytocin, which is like the hug hormone isn't it?
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're not out like hugging people all the time at the moment. So one of the ways that I can counteract how I feel about that and that loss is to do it for myself and to love myself and to touch yourself and like to moisturize your whole body is very important because you're connecting with all of it. You know, your skin is your largest organ. So yeah, without sounding too, again, like airy fairy, it's a holistic approach to it, but it's also got a lot of science behind why that's like healthy for you to do that. And not only that, then my skin is soft. it's really nice. So I feel like those sort of things, when people talk about self-care, they talk about bubble baths or face masks and things like that. And that's not all of it, but it's certainly like really, really important if you don't like yourself to spend time with yourself, telling yourself that you're in those moments where I'm moisturizing myself, I'm saying I care about myself, that I'm still important, that today, no matter how I look, you know, I'm gonna love myself regardless, you know.
No, it is, and it is difficult, but well done as well for always taking steps and being such a positive role model as well. Because like anyone, you know, you've said you do have your days where you're not feeling it, or you know, you don't really want to go out or whatever. But I think you're a really good role model for anyone to look up to, really.
Thanks. I wasn't trying to be one. I think it just sort of, I'm glad that my journey of like trying to love myself helped other people. Because I feel like people say that to me in real life all the time. You know, I love your Instagram pictures because they make me feel like I can post myself in my bikini. And I look at them, I'm like, yeah, but you're banging me. You didn't think you could post yourself in your bikini. Like, I'm so glad. Like, I never started out trying to be some like influencer in that aspect. But I'm so glad that it's spread because it's that's what I wanted. That's the environment that I enjoy. I enjoy everyone gassing themselves up and loving themselves and being at their best. Like, so if you can create that environment, then you may as well start with yourself. And that holds true to anything, I think, you know, anything at all. If you want to do it, then it has to start with you. And then you'll attract what is meant for you.
Yeah. No, definitely. It's a little bit like manifesting and visualization. But always being the change that you want to see as well. I think that's really, really important to hold on to.
Yeah.
And for yourself as well, have you got a lot of plans for the future, or how can people follow and keep up with everything that you're up to?
This sounds really lame, but I purposely didn't plan 2021.
Okay.
I feel like with 2020 being such a disappointment as it was, and being the kind of person who usually spends the winter planning my summer, so I'm usually sat in the winter planning what I'm going to do in the summer. And obviously I sort of kind of knew that we weren't going to have the summer that I love having, which is like lots of festivals and things like that. So I've decided that in order for my own sort of like mental health, to sort of just do something every day, no matter what that is. So again, this is like a survival instinct thing. Like maybe it's just that day that I do all my washing.
Yeah.
Maybe it's that I contact a new agent and or I have that interview, or I go on the radio, or I make a video, or I write a song. So I've decided to sort of plan each day as it comes as to like what I feel like I can do. And I think that's why people think I do a lot of things, when actually a lot of the stuff that's sort of being released, say for instance, all the features that I've done recently on songs, they've all come out now, but I did those like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So same with like filming things, you know, you will get to see it maybe 6 months after I've spent 6 months filming it. So yeah, this year I didn't really have any plans, but I hope to level up at things that I'm already good at. I'm trying to like hone in on my like skills as a songwriter at home. I'm trying to be more calm with myself and be more patient with myself, because of like, I'm one of those people who likes to like go, let's go do this, let's go do that. But being like in lockdown means that I can't do all of that. So I'm sort of learning how to balance my life, because I feel like I was going at a really fast pace, but now I'm not. I don't feel like this is a good answer though, because maybe I feel like this is more like a therapy session between me and you, Laura. Like, how do you feel your year is going? And I'm like, well,
like, how much time have you got?
But I think the simple answer is I am taking each day as it comes. I'm not making any major plans, but I am still making moves. And I think that that's important. I'm still doing things that, so I'm hoping to do more modeling, more acting, more singing. And I'm hoping at least one point this year I'll get to go on stage, especially with Afro Cluster. So they just like released that album, The Reach. And I'm gonna plug it. It's amazing thing. I used to go watch them live. So I've seen them so many times at festivals and gigs and stuff, and just thought they were incredible and they're really energetic. And then like a couple of years ago to find out that I was like gonna get to be on their album, and I was just like, oh, and then it's finally come out and I still can't go on stage with them. It's actually killing me. So it's not false excitement. I'm really itching to do that and sort of get on stage with other people. But there's things coming. I just can't talk about all of them. You've got to wait a few months, but it's all the same stuff, just another level.
And is it a case of like following your social media and stuff as well? Should people add you up on there to keep up with all your content as it comes out?
Yeah, I'm really bad at doing it though. I have a backlog of like things I'm supposed to be updating people on. I really wish I had a social media manager at this point, but it's not that point yet. So, but I do have stuff coming up, but mostly a lot of it's come out recently. So I did a track on Amelia Unity's album EP that she just did. 4-Leaf Clover, I think it was called.
Yeah, that's the one. That's a sick album as well. I've got a review to write for that one, actually. I loved that album so much.
And then I think you did another review as well. You did one for an EP that we were developing last year called Havok Du. I think I just butchered the Welsh.
I know, because it's Welsh, because I know it's Black Beauty, but I wanted the Welsh translation to come out, so I'm glad you attempted that and not.
Yeah. Well, that's the name of it. We titled it in Welsh. I mean, it translates, but the Welsh will always be the title of that EP, and I think it's very important to sort of, it then encompasses all of the things that EP is about in 2 words, you know? Yeah. So, I don't know. I really enjoyed making that. Edie's been like one of my longtime friends, so it was good to do that. So I'm sort of in a little bit of a period of rest in between now, because we've had all those releases. I've been filming like crazy and doing loads of jobs. It's the opposite to what I would normally do, which is coming into the summer, it would be the start of my working season. But now I've had to work all of winter because of COVID. So now it's the opposite. And I'm actually just calming down a bit, trying to have some me time.
No, I do. I hope you enjoy your me time. I do. You've always worked so hard, ever since I've known you, really. So good luck with all your future plans.
Thanks, Laura. That's the same with you, though. You know, big up yourself, big up everything that you're building at the moment, and like journalism and your t-shirts and your little, you know, your clothing brand, and just even like this, you know, like. I will always be in full support of any badass person who's about their own thing, you know?
Yes, go on, Asha Jane. I do. I really appreciate that. It is important to me to like be true to who I am. And like I said earlier, be that change I want to see. So I do. I just hope that positive stuff comes from anything that I'm doing, and I can help encourage other people to be the people they want to be.
And you will. This is great. Okay, I'm going to stop babbling now.
We haven't talked to anyone in ages. We should probably wrap this up. I could talk all day, to be fair. Anyway,
no. That's the problem. Put us two together. We won't stop. We stream for the whole day.
Thank you so much for sitting down with me. I really enjoyed chatting with you. I hope you have an amazing International Women's Day yourself. You're going to be celebrating? You're going out or anything? Or like, well, chilling in, but you know what I mean.
I mean, what can we do? I think there's definitely going to be a Zoom. There's the Ladies of Rage are doing something.
Yeah.
With I think they're doing some like DJ streams and stuff like that. I know I've got to do a couple of bits for that. I know I'm going to be performing for something as well. I haven't figured out if I'm live recording it or not yet. But yeah, I'll do something. At the least, I'll have a cup of tea and cheers it with my housemate.
Yeah, Asha.
At the least.
I hope you have a good one. Yeah, thanks again for sitting down. It's been really, really fun chatting with you.
You too. I hope you have a lovely day. Oh, I'm just scratching my nose. I hope you have a lovely day.
Thank you. Bye.